Greetings! Welcome once more to the Dracovin Empire. Are you ready to dive back through the mists into Demiplanes of Dread once again? Yes, we're heading to Ravenloft again to learn of another Darklord. This one's an interesting one because he may or may not exist. What his arch nemesis, Vecna, has arrived as a god. Yes, we are talking about Kas The Destroyer, as he's known within Ravenloft. To understand Kas, we have to dive into his history, know a little bit about it, as much as we can. We're not going to be fooled. But if you're ready to learn about Kas, to learn about the Darklords, I can open up a gate for the mist. My magic may take us there, may break the boundaries of Ravenloft and take us in and out. You must be warned, if you leave me, you'll be stuck there, in the mists. So please, take my hand, your host and guide. Please do remember to leave a little like, subscribing to the bell over on YouTube, and let me know your experience with Kas. Has any of your groups played with his sword? And the mists await, as does Rain. So, Kas The Destroyer. If you want to learn about him, the best book from Ravenloft, of course, is Domains of Dread. This is the one I'm mainly using, but I'm using a few other smaller sources to put together a little bit of a picture. And today I won't be necessarily diving deep into his time in Grey. We'll be going over it basically, and of course his time afterwards, a little basically. But we're focusing on him as a Darklord. Because if you want to, honestly, you can play during the time he was a Darklord, before Vecna assumed godhood, when he was still competing with him, within Ravenloft. You can't easily do that. You don't have to have that time period. You can choose your own. Or you could always play in the realm after. Perhaps the mists haven't devoured everything quite yet. But let's begin. Let's talk about Kas. Kas before he was in his time in Grey. Because we do know some things about this. We know that in his life, he was renowned for his skill and might, and feared for his evil and villainy. He was the lieutenant of Vecna. Not Vecna's first lieutenant. No, his first lieutenant betrayed him. But one that was of very much trust, to a degree. But it also is most powerful. Kas helped Vecna rule his vast empire through tyranny and terror. And all this years of loyalty from Kas made Vecna appreciative, and presented him with something very powerful. A powerful artifact sword that was known as the Sword of Kas. This changed a legendary sword fighter into a true archetype of evil. No longer was he just, I'm a legendary fighter that happens to be a horrible evil man. No, now I am an incarnation of evil itself, with the powers of the sword at my beck and call. The blade had a voice, had a mind. The voice whispered into Kas's ear, whispered quietly his mind, over again. Corrupted him, changed him in ways, drove him down a darker path. Why should he serve when he can rule? The man known as the Bloody Hand, the most loyal servant of Vecna, turned. He attacked his master. In a mighty battle, he was convinced he could slay him, usurp his power. Within the rotting tower, they did battle. This battle cost Vecna his hand and his eye. Kas himself was flung across the multiverse into Vecna's citadel cavernous on the plain of ash, sealed away. His time on the negative energy plane changed him. Kas became a vampire. And so Kas, the Bloody Hand, became Kas The Destroyer. He evolved, he changed, became something new. No longer the terror, no longer the Bloody Hand, but a destroyer. So, for a long period of time, Kas was sealed away there. But even becoming a vampire, basically, it changed him too. He was all about conquest and triumph. Now he sought destruction, chaos. He would be the destroyer. he was freed them. When Vecna initiated his plan to seize control of Oath, the planet of Greyhawk, Kas was joyed by his release, his out of confinement. But at that very moment, when the mists consumed Vecna, they consumed Kas. Both of them grabbed at the same time. The master plan of Vecna, which failed, freed Kas. But that master plan of Vecna's opened himself up to be captured by the mists of Ravenloft. And we saw another ascent. And so, the two of them were taken. Kas the Destroyer, now in Ravenloft. Kas is not a genius or wizard like Vecna. He does not understand what it means to be trapped here. But he has a meaning to his existence. Because he knows, across his borders, right over there, is his most hated enemy, Vecna. The one who was responsible for him being sealed for those centuries in the Citadel. He has vowed to destroy Vecna, who kept him prisoner for centuries. He wants military dominance over the Burning Peaks, this land which his realm is in, and which Vecna's realm is in. The two realms, Cavitus and Tovag. So he thinks nothing of throwing the military might of his realm against Vecna constantly. So like his rival to the west, Vecna, he's constantly seeking military dominance over the other. Constantly at battle. But he also recognizes that he must not fall victim to Vecna's ironies. He must win, but he must win successfully. You know, he knows a road for victory, though. He needs his sword. He needs its power to destroy Vecna. Something he doesn't have. Now, he is convinced his sword is hidden within Tovag, his own realm. He sends his minions out. His daggers. But he doesn't know, and this is the irony, the sword of Kas is in Oath. Never left. His powerful sword, connected to his very soul, the thing that corrupted him, helped make him into the vampire he is, isn't there. It's lost him. Now I will note he can close his barriers, except to Vecna's realm. And when he does, it creates like a blade barrier effect of swinging swords and daggers that you'll never be able to pierce through. And the more you go into it, the more daggers and swords cut into you. So you can't leave it. It's just a storm of daggers that if you can survive those, it sucks. And you can't create that barrier in between his realm and Vecna's realm because they're eternally connected forever. They're tormented. Both of them are tormented by each other. Darklords are always tormented by something. His is his rival, his most hated thing. That's why their two realms are sandwiched together with a bunch of burning volcanoes in the middle. Just to screw with them. Now, if you've seen my Vecna video, which you could have, this is a newer artwork that's supposed to represent our good friend Kas here. It actually comes from a newer book, Vecna I Ruin. So, pretty new image. What's happened to him now? We know, if you go check out my Vecna video, Vecna does escape Ravenloft, and he finally ascends to godhood. Granted, Vecna, like some of the other Darklords, had a major effect on Ravenloft, helped evolve and change Ravenloft. Kas wasn't going to do anything the same. He doesn't have that kind of power. So, what happened to him? Well, there's given in a Dragon magazine that he became a vestige for a binder class, so he's a spirit trapped outside of reality. 4th edition tells that he's a normal, unliving vampire, so he's still a vampire. And more recently, there's been claims that he rules a kingdom of vampires somewhere in the Shadowfell. What does this mean? Well, it could mean that he found an escape, and Vecna did. It could also mean that all those things could be true. He wandered outside reality before finally reconnecting with it, and maybe now has found his way to the Shadowfell. The fact is, we do not know much of what's going on with Kas in more post-Ravenloft. We know that most likely his realm, along with Vecna's realm, collapsed and disappeared, perhaps to rejoin Greyhawk, perhaps to never be seen again, after the two of them were left as Darklords, because Vecna finally got free after his so many attempts to do so, just like many of the other Darklords that have a lot of magical power and dick with things. Kas just caught up in it. So, again, it's one of those things is we do not know exactly. We have ideas, but no true details. Now, before we finish out today, we do have to talk about his realm a little bit, because it does paint the picture of what's going on under him. And this is the map of the Burning Peaks, with the one on the eastern side there being Kas's realm, Tovag. So, unlike Cavadis, this is actually a relatively nice domain. I'm not gonna lie. Cavadis, Vecna's domain, sucks. It drains the life out of you, it kills you, turns you into a zombie. This place, it sucks. It sucks less. It too was pulled from Oerth, from Greyhawk, from around that area, when the two were come here. It has the volcanoes in the middle, it's covered in ash, it's kind of got some forest, scrub plains, some plants that are hardy to survive in this sulfur-rich territory. Anyway, there's also cities here. There's Kas's fortress in the northern portion. There's also the densely packed city of Tor Gorak, and an extensive number of farms that supply grain and crops to its inhabitants, which helps. There's also well-constructed highways. One from, of course, Tor Gorak to the Fortress of Kas, but also 3 that head west to the Burning Peaks, that are rarely used, for good reasons, which trade doesn't go between them and Cavadis. It technically connects, but there is no trade. The people that live here are poor souls. They're under Kas. They know not to talk with Kas except in whispers or guarded tones. They know that, but they also know that, hey, Vecna, the thing that lives beyond the Burning Peaks, worse than Kas. They are glad to be living under Kas. They're like, you know what? Our lives suck. Not as much as those guys. Yeah. So, yeah. These people have large families. Kas pays a decent bounty for childrenhood. There's a reason for that. There's a magic to this land, to Tovag, that causes those that are born here to age at an accelerated rate. That's that reason, most general humanoids, and especially humans, reach maturity around 9 years old. Yeah, if you are a human born in Tovag, you will become a mature human, sometime physically between like 16, 17, 18, around 9 years. Yeah. Why? Because then they're conscripted into Kas's armies sooner and could be possibly better soldiers. Yep. It's so that he has a constant supply of soldiers. The realm here has these people basically have lots of children, they age fast, they join the army, they die fast. So yeah. And if you somehow get here and remain for about a month, you will start to age faster too. After a month. The effects, the magic of this land will happen. So, the realm is also under constant military mentality. It's wartime all the time. The supplies, that grain being created, it's for the army. So you might get a little bit of it, but no, mostly goes to the military effort to go fight the Lich with his undead armies across the Burning Peaks. Everything here is an instrument for Kas to win his war. There are no routine searches of people and residents. You have no personal liberty. You are under a police state here. Again, better than the undead place over there, but barely. The daggers. These are the police force, the secret police force, the group under Kas that look for spies, traitors, and criminals. They can sentence and execute criminals on the spot. There's little need for evidence or guilt. Those are similar importance. Only justice has to be dealt out quickly and efficiently to make sure order remains. It is brutal, it is dictatorial, it is terrible. But in many ways, it's still better than Cavadis. Still better than across the mountains. Neither are great, but very few domains in Ravenloft have any semblance of being a really nice place to live. And even then, maybe they're just not the worst place to live. Most of the time, they're just awful. It's just awful. It's just not worse. That's Tovag in a nutshell. And there's Kas and Tovag, and I hope you enjoyed learning about them. I did need to do a video here to compliment Vecna, of course, and I did want to do it not quite right away. I waited a few episodes here, but it definitely is one of those things that Kas is very important to Vecna's story in a lot of ways. Now, as I said, theoretically, because in 2nd edition these existed, but by the time we reach 5th edition, timeline-wise, a lot of the form and natural ways of Ravenloft has evolved and changed. Ravenloft changes both to the whims of the Darklords and the dark powers that created them. It evolves, it alters, its form changes. Ravenloft is an ever-changing place, and the Demiplanes of Dread reflect that. They are not always the same, their nature doesn't always remain the same. That is important to see. Even in the times of 2nd edition, they were altering, they were changing. The storyline did that. And 5th edition's no different. Things alter and change. Talk about videos. And certainly speaking, these realms are theoretically gone. The Darklords are gone from these realms at very least. And we know from talking about some other Darklords that have left, as in Rex, that their realms collapse, deteriorate, unless someone can take the mantle. In As Rex's case, there are people trying to, that have maintained the realm for now, but it's still collapsing. Will one truly take up the mantle of Darklord? We don't know. In these two cases, there probably wasn't someone that could take the place. I think after the betrayal of Kas to Vecna, and of course Kas's nature, I do not think either one of them would have had a proper lieutenant to take their place. So very, very possible the Burning Lands, as they are, could be completely gone. The Burning Peaks. Doesn't mean you couldn't play with them, doesn't mean you couldn't use them, but you'd probably gone back in the past, and these two beings were still lords of these places. It just means you probably have to update their stats for 5th edition, or whatever edition you're playing, rather than the 2nd edition stats that we kinda have for both of them. The demigod, Vecna, and the powerful vampire, Kas. Both suck to fight. I would not recommend it either way. But we will leave this. Alright, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Please check out all my other videos and all the other stuff that goes up on my YouTube channel. I do record it live on Twitch. If you want to join me there and check it out, chat with me, kind of stuff like that, you can. It then all goes up on the Twitch side of YouTube side of things. Go on YouTube, do the big support things by starting the bell. And hey, yeah, let me know. What are your thoughts on Kas? What do you think happened to him? I asked about the sword earlier. But now my question is, what do you think his history post the collapse was? Was he just wandering through the universe? Did he end up someplace? Is he in the Shadowfell ruling over a kingdom now? You know, these are thoughts that could exist. What are your thoughts about where he ended up? Is he still there? Maybe we'll see something with now the return of Greyhawk is a big place in 5th edition 5.5 that we will know something about. You might. Thoughts would be. Do check out all my other stuff. Twitch side. You can see me live play games. This includes TTRPGs, not just video games that I do with friends, but the TTRPGs fall down as well. Wednesdays at 8 is my current one. Discussing Tabletop, Saturdays at 6. It's a talk show kind of podcasting thing I do. And of course, social media link below for all the updates. Alright, I think that's all the shoutouts I need to do at the end. So, until next time we dive into the Demiplanes of Dread or somewhere else, I bid you all out there a deep and wonderful day.